I'd like to talk today about creating a culture of STEM within a classroom or school. I realize over the years we've added other letters, such as the A, to represent how important the arts can be in the design process, but I really want to speak about the science, technology, engineering, and math root of all of these. Schools may have STEM programs, STEM courses, STEM days, but ultimately what we need to create is a culture of STEM. Let's go back to the why. STEM originated decades ago as a national priority since realizing that the country had declining numbers of people going into fields related to science, technology, engineering, and math. The goal is to expose students to and build their skill set to potentially pursue a STEM-related career. In 2017, the Denver Post published an article that pointed out that in the US, for every STEM-qualified worker, there are 13 unfilled positions. That's a lot of jobs we are unable to fill. It's important to offer students a perspective that allows them to consider a career in science, technology, engineering, and math. That's not to say we should be encouraging students to go only into these areas, but these are the areas that typically have not been as well supported in schools. So more and more schools are including STEM programs, STEM courses, and in some cases they are becoming STEM schools. How can you create a culture of STEM? The first thing you tend to see in any STEM program is the STEM stuff. Students building drones and robots, 3D printers, virtual reality goggles, all of the fun stuff that kids can dig their hands into. And while that is all really important, and it is necessary to any kind of STEM culture, it is not sufficient in and of itself. You have to stay focused on the end goal of providing students with exposure to and confidence in STEM-related studies so they can pursue a career in the area if they so choose. Now, first and foremost, STEM has a public image, and that generally is related to the tangible materials or the stuff of STEM. When you walk into a STEM school, you see the stuff. When you read a newspaper or magazine article or see a video or news report on STEM, you see the stuff of STEM. It is something that everyone can relate to, but we have to go deeper than that. We have to ensure that students use the stuff of STEM to solve problems. Programming a robot to move across a room along a certain path is a nice start, but that's not why we learn STEM skills. In one school, students considered that leaves fall into the storm drains and can clog up those pathways so that in a torrential rainstorm, the water cannot freely flow through the storm drains, resulting in flooding. So they started creating robots that could navigate through the storm drains and clean them out. In another instance, students were faced with the scenario that the local bridge across a river was out and the water was filled with toxic chemicals. Their job was to figure out how they could move people across the water without touching it. They ended up building hovercraft and actually testing them outside on the school track. So building a STEM culture includes having students solve real-world problems in order to learn about the stuff of STEM. But we need to go even deeper than that. Fundamentally, if you are going to follow a career in STEM, you will have the mindset of a scientist, technologist, engineer, and mathematician. How do we build those mindsets in our students? It is in the language we use and the activities in which we engage students that we cause them to start thinking like a scientist, technologist, engineer, and mathematician. If we are going to ensure that students have all of the background knowledge and exposure they need to decide whether or not they want to pursue a career in STEM, it is our moral imperative to ensure that they possess the mindsets of the scientist, technologist, engineer, and mathematician. So in order to create a culture of STEM, we've got to move from the stuff to real-world problems to mindsets. And when we talk about the culture of STEM, if you look across the middle, teachers throughout the school, no matter what the subject area, can use the next generation science standards cross-cutting concepts, can consider all of the ways in which technology can be used to enhance the learning process, can use a methodical engineering design process in order to solve problems, and can use the math practice standards found in most state standards today. Using this language, engaging students in activities around these concepts will help build the mindset of the scientist, technologist, engineer, and mathematician, and better ensure that our students will be prepared to follow the path toward a STEM career. So the key is to identify or have students identify real-world problems to solve using the stuff of STEM while building the mindsets of the scientist, technologist, engineer, and mathematician. Thanks for joining me today in creating a culture of STEM.